Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario. OakRidgeFord.com. Black Friday is over, but the Black Friday deals at the dealership continue on through the end of the month at Norman Oak Ridge Ford. Reach out to me right now. If you're in the market for a vehicle, this is a great time to buy. You've got to talk to me first, and I guarantee I'll be the last one you see handing you a set of keys. Thanks to Oak Ridge Ford for all of the sponsorship. Norm in London, Mike in Buffalo. It is Sunday, November 19th, 2023. The Leafs 2-0 at the Global Series in Sweden. How about that? Pretty impressive stuff. Then again, other than the results, we can nitpick about how it all came to be, besides the complete fawning over and, worshiping and undying devotion to William Nylander. 5 points over there, Mike, including the game winner against Minnesota this morning. Holy smokes. How are you?
Good morning, Norm. I think Leaf fans should be very pleased that they got 4 out of a possible 4 points. So it was a successful road trip, and these were road games, even though Mike Ross, the Leafs PA announcer, was the announcer for in the arena for all 4 games over there. It was just sort of weird, just the little things were strange. Like I was having a little bit of a conversation with some Leaf fans online regarding the blue helmets with the white uniforms, which I liked. I actually thought looked cool, and it'll be interesting to see if they wear white helmets at home when they get back. But I think you look at the first game where they were comatose for the first 40 minutes, first 2 periods against Detroit, and then in usual Maple Leaf fashion, come back and 3-2. And then today they do what else that they do really well, blow leads. They were up 3-1, and they give away 2 goals in the third period, and then win it on an ice goal by William Nylander. And like you said, the fawning over. I mean, it's one thing. Obviously, he's in his home country. He's one of the more popular players over there. I expect that. He's on, talk shows, and he's, taking pictures with kids. That's another thing. I mean, for Gord Miller and Mike Johnson, it's just sickening of it's the William Nylander show. No, there's an entire team there. I know that the focus there is Nylander because of his contract situation, because his dad's in the crowd and all this stuff. But boy, it was just overkill. I mean, really, he extended his point streak to 17 games. He had an assist on the first goal. He really didn't do much until the overtime winner. Now, obviously, the Leafs are very happy that he scored the overtime winner. In fact, he was responsible for Zuccarello, and Zuccarello scored the tying goal. So, there was a little bit of Mr. Willy there. But, glass is half full. He did score the game winner. And, now coming back from Sweden, it's just going to be sickening how much we're going to hear about Nylander and his contract.
It's all aligning perfectly, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, OakRidgeFord.com. Our Black Friday big event has come and gone, but there will be more Black Fridays and Thursdays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Mondays. Whatever we can do to move some steel. We've got a ton of F-150s that have to get off the lot at Norman Oak Ridge Ford. I really do appreciate you reaching out to me, and I promise you, we do take care of your Leafs content here. I'll make sure to take care of your vehicle needs as well. Mike, again, whether it's a coincidence or not, William Nylander is having a career start to what should be a career year as he furthers his career eventually by earning more money than he's ever had earned in his career. And it's just kind of all coming together for him. What I'm hoping, other than all of the personal success for William Nylander, he can lead this team for as long as possible to, a better place. That said, the Global Series demonstrated what the Leafs were about in a negative way, and also have unfurled some positives. I mean, Austin Matthews scoring goals, John Tavares was great, Mitch Marner was pretty magic at times. Nobody's perfect, right, Mike? So we're never going to get the player of wax. We're always going to have someone with some deficiencies. But if you can do more good than bad, That's terrific. And I think central to to the success that took place in Sweden, having Ilya Samsonov win a game and then having Joseph Wall win a game. And going forward, I would like to see between the pipes a bit of a kind of an equality, an equal opportunity type thing take shape. I know in the past you've talked about, running with the hot hand and then going to the other guy. Right now, I'm not so sure who can be hot. And if we can get both goaltenders into a good mindset and a good place and know that regardless of who's between the pipes, they're not going to cost you, that is a positive in and of itself as this team tries to figure out what it really is about going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the performances of the two goalies in Sweden,
Right.
I didn't think Samsonov was particularly strong early on. The Lucas Raymond goal I thought was particularly weak, but he made a big save late in regulation to save the 2 points. So, and that's coming off the game against Vancouver, I believe, where he played pretty well. So, I mean, will they take that over 3 goals and 4 shots against Tampa, or giving up 4 goals as he did against Tampa in Toronto? Of course they will. Is he back to where he was last year? No, but I mean, if they're fighting through and getting 2 points, that's really all they care about, and they'll hope that he straightens up as the season goes along. Wall, I thought, I don't think he had any chance on the third goal. I don't think he had much of a chance on the deflected first goal. And then he made a monstrous save in overtime on Zuccarello, I believe it was, where he was completely wide open. I don't know what Matthews, Marner, I think it was Brody, were doing, all standing in the corner. But I think that right now it's going to be a rotation. If nobody is stealing the job, then they're just going to go game in, game out, sort of what Boston's doing with Swayman and Allmark, and that's good. I mean, where we are right now, Norm, with the Leafs, is the goaltending is going to be as good as the defense allows it to be, and right now,
exactly,
the defense is still a concern. And when you're playing Mark Giordano 20 minutes a night because you have to, the guy is going to be burned out by the middle of the season.
Yeah. The defense is certainly a work in progress, Mike. And when you look between the pipes, you can't say that this team is just, one consistent, everyday, solid goaltender away from taking it all. These two can hopefully sort themselves out, as will the defense going forward. We know what we're going to get from the offensive group. Alan Tam, love his contributions to the show. Treliving messed up in the summer. It would have only cost $10 million. Now it will cost $11 million or more to sign Nylander. Backfired on the laughs. I mean, that's something that we'll have to take into consideration. If William Nylander is going to earn $11 million, good for him, good for his representation, good for the Nylander family, good for all of Sweden.
Yeah,
can the Leafs pay that to this guy who's really reaching the zenith of his career, right at a time where they could use his services, but how the hell are they going to pay him?
I'll just say this. If he's going to make $11 million, he's going to make it somewhere else other than Toronto. I don't see a scenario where he makes more than $10 million. And I was joking with a Leaf fan who messaged me and said, he's going to get $11 million. It says if Brad Treliving pays him $11 million, Brad Treliving should be fired because that's an overpayment for a guy. Don't get me wrong. He had a great year last year. He played well in the playoffs. He's having a phenomenal year this year. You have to say that right now the motivation is there because he's going to get paid.
Right.
And so the question is, what Nylander will we see after he gets paid? And
Mike, T-Sack, they have to pay him. You can't let a guy who is that talented walk.
Sure, you can if you're going to have to overpay him. And this is the thing. This is why they needed to either sign him or trade him before the beginning of the season, because once the season started, this kind of talk was going to be, well, you can't let him go because he's so talented. Watch. If they're demanding $11 million, the Leafs will not be able to sign him. It'll come down to who do you rather have? Nylander or Marner, and I honestly believe that the Leafs would choose Marner over Nylander because I think they would have a very reasonable chance of getting Marner signed on an 8-year deal, whereas I think Nylander is going to demand over 10 million. I mean, right now with every game on this point streak, it's the price is going up. Michael Nylander holding up the 1 and the crowd, and I said that's representative of the number of the first number of the new deal. Well, if it's a 1, he's getting it someplace else.
I'm happy with what William Nylander is doing as a player, his progression, and his contribution to the team. That's great. Mm-hmm. But I've never been a Nylander, right, or somebody whose sole reason for getting up in the morning and watching hockey is number 88. So I'm not in the camp that is pointing fingers at everybody who said Nylander was, so-so or subpar or one-trick pony. I don't really understand what that equates to because, again, it's taken a long time for him to get to this run, and we don't know if it's going to continue. So I'm kind of viewing it as this is a guy who is contributing to the team, and he's grabbed the team by the scruff of the neck and has dragged it through some tougher times, and now it's on a 4-game win streak. Mm-hmm. Matthews is doing his thing. Marner's doing his thing. It's Nylander's time to shine. That's great. That is truly great. But we're going to be confronted, OGs, converts, Nylander, with that moment where the Leafs are going to have to decide if they can pay the cat, who's looks like he's going to earn the opportunity to make massive money, or let him go. And the big question that will, continue to get larger and will permeate and will resurface as we get closer to these major milestones between now and the trade deadline is, what do you do with this circumstance, knowing there's a potential you could lose him? Ideally, it would be nice to sign him to a number that's comfortable for the Maple Leafs. But, pick your poison. Love the hell that William Nylander's doing what he's doing, and he'll make all this money that the Leafs can't afford. Or, keep your fingers crossed that he's going to decide that Toronto's the place he wants to play, and he, despite his salary demands, will amend what he's looking for in order to make it work. It's not as easy as shipping out number 16 because the tit for tat and the battle of who's better right now weighs in favor of William Nylander. It's not as simple as just shipping him out. And again, Mike, you made this point on the last convo. Why the hell would you want to lose a TJ Brody to bring in a Nikita Zadorov? You want to keep both of them there. Why do we need to move out Mitch Marner to keep William Nylander? Well, you want to have both of them there. And of course, there's the aspect of not having enough on defense, but can Mitch Marner, if he's the trade piece, be the guy who brings back all of the defensive reward? And can Nylander, Matthews, and Nyes and these other guys ride shotgun up front and take it forward? I mean, there's just, again, I said one question. There are so many questions as we go game to game, month to month towards these big milestone points.
Remember what was said before the season started.
Right.
Nylander and his representation came out through, one of the insiders. I can't remember whether it was Pierre or CJ or Elliott, said, well, he will take less if the others take less. Well, right. Austin Matthews didn't take less. He took the league.
Right.
He could have been paid $15 million, but
right.
he was paid $13.25.
Right.
Okay, so that means Nylander's not going to take less. Well, if he's not going to take less, he's a lesser player than Austin Matthews. William Nylander has not won a Hart Trophy. William Nylander has not won 2 Rocket Richards. He is not a center. I mean, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's playing fantastic right now. But the realism here is that this is a salary cap league. If this was not a salary cap league, I wouldn't give a good goddamn what William Nylander wants to make because
right.
Pay him. It didn't matter. Pay him. You pay.
Right.
The Rangers paid Bobby Holik. The Leafs paid Matt Sundin and McGillney and all these other guys. It doesn't matter. Especially with the MLS&E being a cash box, it doesn't matter. But
right.
There's a cap. There's an $83.5 million cap. It may go up to 88. This team will not go very far unless they upgrade their defense.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is going to come at the cost of William Nylander, well, if it's a question of adding 2 top 4 defensemen or keeping William Nylander,
Right.
I'm voting for signing 2 top 4 defensemen.
OGs like the content, subscribe to the channel. We haven't heard from Colin M much this season. Colin says all 4 will be on the roster next season and have discussion. How about talking about the goaltending? It's improving. First off, Colin, we have acknowledged that the goaltending is improving. So you missed out on that. When it comes to William Nylander, his contract situation, how do we not talk about it? We're just having a conversation, but it's a big damn deal. I'm of the belief that William Nylander plays the rest of the season with the Maple Leafs. Why the hell would you? It's like the worst time to trade the guy, even if you could accrue, a mountain of opportunity in another aspect of the ice. Forget about that. The Leafs are either going to bail out in the first round or go on and win a Stanley Cup. And if he is playing at the end of it all the way he's playing now, the money is just, he's going to have so much money laid at his feet. He's going to have a major decision to make. And if it's all about the money, he is going to be gone. And there are going to be Maple Leaf fans who, pin their hopes and dreams on number 88, who are going to be heartbroken and who are going to have to reconcile losing their favorite guy and maybe potentially switching allegiances. I think that's where it's going to end up. I honestly think if he is playing the same way he is now at the end of the season and puts himself in the ultimate spot to make big money, someone's going to offer a major cash. He's going to take it. I doubt the Leafs are going to be able to pay it. That's just my thought. I'm not anti-Nylander. We have to talk about this because it's a big damn deal.
Well, the way this is playing out, and I sort of predicted that this was going to be the situation in the summer. This is playing out like Johnny Gaudreau in Calgary. Johnny Gaudreau was walking into an unrestricted year. Now, the difference was Gaudreau essentially, they continue to negotiate, like the report that came out a couple days ago says, well, they're negotiating. They're still negotiating. Okay, but nothing's getting done, obviously. Now, they're not going to negotiate in the media, so we don't know how close they are or how far apart they are. But there is no contract that's been signed. So in the absence of that, you don't know where things are going. Well, then they were talking to the 11th hour with Johnny Gaudreau, and he had an MVP level season in Calgary, and then he walks away to Columbus. And now there were other factors there. Gaudreau wanted to play closer to home. He's, American kid. He didn't want to play in Calgary. Obviously, what's going on in Calgary right now is a factor. Nylander reportedly loves Toronto, but the problem is that, again, this team has not gotten very far paying half their salary cap to 4 players. And
that's throw a comment up here, Mike. So T-Sack, you're not wrong, Mike, but still I'd rather have Nylander and figure the rest out. Teams go decades without a talent like him. T-Sack, what are you talking about? The guy's been on the team for 7 years. Like, people wanted him shipped out, like, season in, season out, for not being a two-way player. What? This is the ascent. No doubt. But hold up, man. He's not Connor Bedard or Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews. This is great that he's come to this, but this idea that he's some generational talent that we just discovered. We've ridden the damn trials and tribulation train with this cat for so many years. This is great for him. It's justification, at least temporarily, for all of his protractors. But, like, what? We know who this guy is, and he's really having a good season. Let's, run with it, and let's hope he gets paid. And, if all things work out, it'll be with the Toronto Maple Leafs. If it's not, your guy deserves to be paid and deserves to land somewhere where they feel that financially they can drum up the value that he believes he's worth. So let's just kind of leave it at that. Michael Matthew, not yet Norm, but he is headed in the right direction. Again, these cats wake up every damn day just to, find out what William Nylander's eating. And I appreciate that devotion, guys. And if you have the same devotion to the podcast, that would be great too.
Well, this is the problem. You don't become a superstar at age 27. You would become a superstar at age 19 or 20. If William Nylander was a superstar, He would have been that in 2016. He's not.
Right.
Is he a great player? Yes. Could he be a part of a Stanley Cup winning team? Yes. But the problem is they can't afford to pay him if he expects to be paid like a superstar. And that is what anybody's making over $10 million a year in this league is being paid like a superstar. And he cannot, in the current construct of this team, with Austin Matthews making 13 and a quarter, and okay, you want to argue the point that Mitch Marner should make less than 11 million? I'm all for that argument too. But the problem is that he's not taking a pay cut on his next deal. He's probably going to take at least the same and maybe expect a bump. So if you're paying Mitch Marner 12 and you're paying Austin Matthews 13 and a quarter, you cannot pay Nylander 11. You can't pay him 10. If you're talking about in the 9s, fine. Because next year, after the following year, John Tavares is probably going to take less. But there's that 1 year where they all overlap, and the cap is at most going to be $88 million. I mean, this is it's partially a philosophical discussion, but there are certain people out there that think all of a sudden William Nylander is a superstar. He's not. He's a great player. He is not a superstar.
Okay, undefiled wisdom. No worries on Willie. Him and JT will swap salaries when JT is a free agent. They will restructure the contract so that the first year is less and maybe the last year is $12 million. Who knows? No worries.
Okay, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So unless William Nylander signs a 1-year contract to match up with John Tavares' contract expiring, there's a 1-year overlap. Nylander and Matthews were up at 1 year, which is after this year, and then Marner and Tavares the year after. You want to thank somebody about that? That's Lou Lamoriello, because Lou Lamoriello. Right. But anyway, I digress. But that's the issue here. So, and there's no way that William Nylander is signing a 1-year extension. So, that might very well happen in terms of Tavares taking less and Nylander making more. But unless he takes a 1-year deal, even if they structure low money at the beginning and high money at the end, it equals out the AAV on an 8-year deal. So if he's going to be making 11 million a year, no matter how you structure it, it's 11 million AAV, and they cannot pay him that.
Yeah, Michael Matthew, is Marner a superstar? Think not. Why the Marner hate, Mike?
They're inextricably linked.
The Nylanderites lose the validity in their argument when they're hating on somebody. It has to be Nylander because Marner sucks. Marner doesn't suck. He's a point per game player in his entire career. Nylander's on fire right now, and what a lot of Nylander fans are doing is kicking at Marner. Like Marner's a problem. He's annoying. His dad's not the nicest guy. Neither is William Nylander's father. Why the Marner hate?
Well,
I cannot stand. Listen, it's like it's like things that go on in the world. It's like you have to like us, you can't like them. OG's converts, about me. You're with us, a couple times a week. I'm more for the team, and I just want to see the team do well. When you are so fervent towards one guy with your love and so fervent towards another with your disdain, I can't get on board with that, guys. I really can't. T-Sack says that you could build a team around Slick Willie Styles.
Well,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is good, though. Good. I'm glad for William Nylander. He's in his glory right now, and all of his people are absolutely, building him up. And I hope it continues on because guess what? The Leafs will benefit from it, at least in terms of what happens on the ice.
T-Sack, we'll find that out when he signs with Anaheim or some team like that can pay him $11 million a year. Because if the Leafs simply can't do that. So no, I mean this is where I think
it's a choice. Spike 11. It's a choice between Nylander and Marner. How so?
Because what he's saying is they can't afford both of them. And my Spike stole my point in the sense that this team to win a Stanley Cup needs both of these players. And that's the problem. They're probably not going to be able to pay both of them. With the cap, the cap is going to go up, but it's not going to go up enough to be able to afford them and pay for the players that they need to add to win, meaning defensemen. So so you have to make one of a series of bad choices. Okay, I want Nylander, I want Marner. Okay, if you don't have both of them, you might not be able to win. So that's the problem. You need Nylander, you need Marner to take not really ridiculous hometown discounts, but to take a little bit less on an 8-year deal. And the thing is, with Nylander.
Okay. So can I make a quick point?
Yep.
HockeyDB.com. Mitch Marner has 47 points in 50 playoff games. And I'm not pro Marner. I could care less. I honestly could care less. William Nylander has 40 points in 50 playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
The Marners and Matthews didn't look too great against Florida last year. This is again, the stat guys will always say, go to the stats, go to the metrics. There they are. What are you talking about? Again. It's cool. It's okay that you love somebody, but when you're kicking somebody else to advance the agenda of your beliefs, I'm not on board with that. I'm really not. If William Nylander walks in free agency, I give a fuck. If Mitch Marner gets traded and the Leafs get better, I could give a fuck. Honestly, win a Stanley Cup. I don't care who's on the damn team. Okay, that's it.
Well, okay. Here is the revisionist.
He has more clutch moments. Okay.
Here is the revisionist history because
right.
I hear, Marner doesn't show up in the playoffs and Nylander has shown up every year. Bullcrap. Because the first year against, the first series against the Bruins, he had 4 points. The second year against the Bruins, he had 3 points. Marner did better in both those series. Now, Marner has been up and down. Like you said, the last couple of years, it's been sort of hit or miss. And Nylander has sort of gradually improved. But to say he's been great in the playoffs every single year, no. Now, check your facts.
Who takes – okay, so let's – I'm at OG's conference. I apologize. This is not where I wanted to go with this, but it's devolved into, it's the tit for tat game. So I'm going to leave it with this. Okay, so Michael Matthew, T-Sack, Spike 11, all these guys get their justification, and Mitch Marner is removed from the organization. And these guys will party like it's 1999, okay? Who replaces Marner in what he does? The penalty killing, falling down out there last minute, feeding guys, picking up a point per game. Who replaces him? Because you're going to bring back some. They all think he's garbage, but you're going to bring back a bushel for him. So you're going to have guys on defense. Maybe a kind of a power forwardy guy, but who fills in for what Mitch Marner produces night in and night out? That's a question, Mike. I'd like you to answer.
Well, and that's the problem because there is no replacement for him. If you trade Mitch Marner, then you've traded your number one playmaker for Austin Matthews. And you can say, well, they just put Nylander with Matthews. Okay, well then now you have a one-line team because now you've put Tavares with Matthew Nyes? I mean, the whole benefit here is you've had two centers with two wingers that either, Tavares is more of a playmaker. He sets up Nylander. Matthews is more of a setup guy for Matthews. When you lose one of those guys, you automatically make this team weaker. Now, that doesn't rule out you being able to go out in free agency or, signing Patrick Kane or some, whatever. I mean, but that's the unforeseen. We don't know if any of those things are going to happen. I'm just looking at the here and the now as if you lose one of these guys, you automatically offensively become weaker and more dependent on the three guys that are remaining. And that's where I look at this situation and I'm like, okay, it is untenable right now, and that's why it needed to be resolved in the summer. And you said it, and you were right. Once the season started, they were going to keep Nylander. There's no, I mean, yes, his highest values right now. I mean, if you were completely heartless, you come back from Sweden and you hold a sweepstakes throughout the NHL, and you trade him for his whatever. But we're living in reality here. He's not going to get traded. He's going to be not going to get traded through the deadline, even if negotiations fall apart. And then they'll try to negotiate during the season, and probably he walks in free agency. But they're not going to trade him now. The time to trade him was the summer. They missed their opportunity, and now they're playing with the hand that they were dealt.
Here's a question, and it's all about questions. Nylander's on the ascent. Taking him a while, but he's on the ascent. And this is, I mean, the sky's the limit now. He's on his way. Marner's peaked. Marner was great in the beginning, but he's just getting sloppy and just not responsible, even though he's out there doing a lot of stuff that maybe somebody else should be doing. Small guy. We've seen the best of Marner. We haven't seen the best of William Nylander yet. And you keep 88 and you find a way to move 16 to free up a bunch of salary for an incoming, get this, Conor McDavid. According to Spike 11, there's an idea.
The problem is
that's okay.
The problem is, if that's your plan, the problem is that McDavid's contract is a year longer than Tavares and Marner.
Yeah.
So then you're waiting another year. Now the cap's going to go up, and if you have a good idea that McDavid wants to come and play for Toronto, yeah, but you're throwing away 2 years of Matthews. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, everything is staggered here. It's not like they now. Okay, you could say, well, if he's got a year left in his contract and he's made it clear to Edmonton that he wants out, then they're going to probably try to trade him. But they're okay, and they might trade him to Toronto. But what is Edmonton going to expect? They might expect Mitch Marner back. See what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, you don't know. Those are situations that you can't read.
Can I throw something out there? And This is controversial. Oh, geez, Convert's going to hate me. I would give up any one of these guys on the Leafs for Conor McDavid.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but the problem is that the teams that win Stanley Cups have two centers. So the only way that and I sign up for trading for Conor McDavid or signing Conor McDavid right now, but the way that works is you have him and Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
1-2. That's how
wouldn't that be something?
Right. But, do I expect it to happen? No.
We went from praising Willy to, bringing him down a little bit and kicking Mitch Marner. And now we're fantasizing about a potential, a 1-2 center, kind of a center arrangement with McDavid and Matthews. Who would be the first center and who would be the second center? How about before we go, let's throw Morgan Rielly a bone. He picked up a goal. He's been rock damn solid. A perfect number 2. Anywhere else, he's filling in the number 1 slot with the Maple Leafs. Nothing from Max Domi. Tyler Bertuzzi had a nice game. Throw some credit. Players not named William Nylander, and then we'll wrap it up.
I'll say this. I mean, I agree. Morgan Rielly he's played great all season. So, I mean, he's had to, because the defense has been shorthanded. And really, you have to say that the situation right now they're playing really with 3 good defensemen. I mean, and maybe 4. I'm not slighting Giordano, but I think as he piles up the minutes, he becomes less and less successful. And right now they've lucked out in the fact that Lagesson has filled in, I think, adequately on a veteran minimum contract, been able to provide them with quality minutes as a bottom pairing guy. But Simon Benoit is terrible. And really they don't have many options right now because Maxime Lajoie is not, I don't think, is an NHL defenseman, and Liljegren is probably a month away. He was walking around in Sweden with a cast on. Connor Timmins may be back pretty soon, but we're going to see how close everything is in terms of all these Nikita Zadorov rumors when the Leafs come back and they're flying back tonight. So this week before they resume their schedule on Black Friday against the Blackhawks in Chicago, they might have another defenseman in the mix. But that's right now. They won 4 in a row and everything is great in that respect. But they need to upgrade this defense, and I don't think they need to upgrade it before the deadline. I think they need to upgrade it right now because they've gotten away with playing some subpar guys, and that's not going to last. And as for Matthew Nyes, I think he's playing well. I think he great one-timer today. Somebody made the point online, and I don't remember who it was, that Matthew Nyes doesn't realize he's bigger and stronger than most of the guys out there. He's just got to sort of learn that, and that he could be a bull in a china shop and sort of go to the front of the net. And when he learns that, he's going to be out of control. And I agree with that assessment completely.
OG's Converts, like the content, subscribe to the channel. We really do appreciate you being here, and amazing discussion. Your contributions are not only appreciated, but required. So Chicago on Black Friday, and then it's the next night against Pittsburgh at Scotiabank Arena. It will be nice to have the Maple Leafs back on Canadian soil or North American soil, and then a slew of games leading up to Christmas, where let's hope they can position themselves in a not just from a standings perspective but really kind of get this thing righted, right? The goaltending situation cohesive and working. The defensive group is always going to be a work in progress, and we know with the forwards, look, they're really second to none when all is said and done. Mike, anything at hockeybuzz.com we should sink our teeth into right now?
Well, today obviously we're just promoting the podcasts, but tomorrow I'll give probably a more full-throated version of what I talked about today about Nylander and the Nylander love that was it was really just put out there this weekend. And I think he had a great couple games, but it was really over the top. So it was a little sickening, but that's
right.
Just my point of view. But I'll talk more about that.
If it was Wendell Clark week, Mike, you'd be happy with it. If it was Yogi Berra week, you'd be happy with it. This is William Nylander's time to shine. It's all coming together, culminating potentially with either a massive run through the playoffs and him as one of the focal points, or him making ridiculous money with the Maple Leafs because they've been able to financially accommodate it, or he moves on somewhere else to become the centerpiece to an organization. Hey, if you're a Nylander fan specifically, live it up. This is your time. Let's just hope it continues on, and the other players around him can continue to give him that push that he needs to take his game even further than where it is right now. And the results will be a team that wins and is ultimately successful. And at the end of the day, maybe this is a Stanley Cup year because Willy has come into his own. OG's Converse, thanks for being here. Mike and I will reconvene probably a couple times this week ahead. Like the content, subscribe to the channel. I'd like to get up to some big numbers with the subs before season 6 concludes. We have a long way to go. For Mr. A, I'm Norm. Talk to you soon. The Leafs Convo is out.